Every year, 800,000 people are committing suicide. This needs to be treated with compassion, I know that very well. It's not that I have no compassion, it is a sensitive matter. So it's time that you look at it just as life, not as a person.
Namaskaram, sadhguru. One of the leading actors for Hindi films today took his own life. I'm really shocked by this. In recent past, Robin Williams and many other extremely successful people have also taken such a drastic step. As a society, where are we going wrong that even successful people are ending their lives in this manner?
Well, every year, 800,000 people are committing suicide. This is many times more than the number of people murdered and those who die in wars, many times more. It's just that I do not know who this actor or actress is.
Sushant Singh Rajput.
Well, I just know a few names, so I don't know. I'm sorry. Whoever this is, I don't want to say anything about this person, unfortunate, because we know nothing about his life. But why is this happening? I think I can call it a phenomena, when 800,000 people are dying per year, which means every 40 seconds, approximately every 40 seconds, one person is committing suicide. That's not a small thing. Well, there are many aspects to this. If you because people right now, if they've lost somebody who is dear to them or who they look up to, now they are in emotional state, they will not look at it as it should be. But if you are willing to simply look at it as life, not as a person, one of the most fundamental reasons for collapse of an individual human being, which may end in suicide or may end in a depressed state or may end in some other kind of ailment, that is subject to various aspects, but essentially a collapse. Life did not collapse. Life collapse, that's different. That is Kala Bhairava's work. You want to take his job, you want to go ahead of him and do it yourself. Well, this needs to be treated with compassion, I know that very well. It's not that I have no compassion, it is a sensitive matter. But I want you to look at it simply the way it is, because if you want to grasp what it is, otherwise, when somebody commits suicide or when somebody dies, you get emotional, you think this is the end of the world. After 3 days, you will go back to your normal life and everything will go on and you'll forget about it. And once again, when somebody dies, again the same emotions, same struggles, and again go back to the same square one. So it's time that you look at it just as life, not as a person. Especially not as a person that was near to you or dear to you or someone that you loved. Don't look at it that way, just as life. Why does a life do this? There are many layers to this. One fundamental aspect is the experience of life is not pleasant. Because right now, the experience of our life has been mortgaged to something else, to success in the world, or to money, to wealth, to relationships, just so many things, mortgaged to so many things. If the market collapses, people will commit suicide. If a love affair collapses, somebody will commit suicide. If they lose their wealth, they will commit suicide. Because what you call as a human being, unfortunately, is a collage of all these things. My money, my home, my family, my relationships, my job, and my position, my fame, my name, all this collage. Well, this means… a collage means a loosely put together pieces. Anytime it can collapse. If one part of the picture somebody burns it out, it'll collapse. Well, many questions will come up, I know in a brief time I won't be able to cover all these aspects. I think, we have covered this in the death book to an extent of elaborateness where I will not make enemies with people. Yes, because most of the humanity is not willing to look at life straight in the eye. They want drama. So, to the point that it is possible to present in the public space, we've gone that place and a little more with that book about suicide and all these aspects. To put it very simply, there is life. Life means not things that happen in your life. Life is not a drama that's happening around you. Life is a fundamental thing that's happening within you. This life runs on the basis of certain principles and laws of its own. And now, there is a world around you, a society. It runs on its own crazy principles, which is fluid and changing all the time. Today, if you do one thing, people will clap their hands for the same thing. 100 years later, they will pull you down. See, I want you to understand this. This life, the life that you are, this is not thinking of becoming rich. This is not thinking of becoming famous. This is not thinking of this and that, acquiring this or that. Well, it needs body to be nourished well, that's all. That's a fundamental need. If the platform of body is well nourished, it'll stay. If it is not, it'll go. But even that it does not ask. That is something that we decide that this must go on. But the life just wants to happen in an effervescent and exuberant way, as effervescently as possible, as exuberantly as possible. Now, you must see, probably you have not seen, these days there are not too many because everything has become tractor, truck and all this, otherwise, in these mud tracks, there are mud tracks which, which have cut deep into the thing like 10, 20 feet below the normal earth, it's cut and it's all like that. You will see a bullock cart driver, how he will struggle to keep the two bulls together. Because once the land is not flat, the bulls get little confused. One wants to go like this, one wants to go like that. One is walking to its comfort, another is trying to find its own comfort because the land is like that. And too much load on one bull, so it is trying to push it on the other one. Now he struggles to control. How skillful he is will decide how successfully he will come out of that mess. Well, usually there will be one or two very skillful drivers. When difficult situations come, they will put their cart that side, walk back and put one cart the same driver, because they clearly know all of them are not equally competent to handle the two bulls in difficult terrain. On flat terrain, everybody rides. On flat terrain, even if it's pulling and pushing, you don't notice because it's going straight. So this is the reason why the purpose and the activity aimed towards self-transformation is the most important activity in a human being's life. Why forever in this culture, spiritual process has been held as the most important and the highest dimension in life is simply because one aspect of it is reality, another aspect is psychological reality. Even to make out the distinction between the two, it needs some work. Otherwise, you are thinking the bull that you have made up is a reality by itself. The bull that you make up, especially the bull that you have made up, should be completely in your control, isn't it? Creation's bull, not totally in our control, we leave it to Kala Bhairava. But the bull that I made up must be completely in my control. But right now, that is the bull that's going out of control. So in how many ways it will manifest, how many varieties of sufferings that human beings have today, these are all the different ways it will manifest. The suffering can become to such a point that the fundamental reason why you are here is because you're born and you're alive. So the very fundamental becomes unimportant, that your own shadow bull becomes… a shadow becomes more important than the real thing, that's all that's happened. You can call this misery, you can call this frustration, you can call this depression, you can call this suicide, but essentially the shadow has become more important than the real thing. Well, whoever this young man is, most unfortunate, but over 800,000 people are doing this to themselves every year. We can't be very proud of having created a great society or a civilization. If genuinely we have created a great civilization, then all sorts of people, all sorts, the strong, the weak, the capable, the incapable, everybody should find a place somewhere. Everybody should at least know within their limited space how to remain peaceful and joyful. This is civilization. Right now, our idea of civilization for the last millennia has been how to go and hack other people to death, grab their things and say we are civilized. When you have such an idea of civilization, internally, many things will go on because you have invested in the collage that you have created. To such an extent, I'm not saying we should not have a social structure, we should not… or at any point of time society will be a perfect collage, no, it will never be. It is just that you can blow your balloon, your bull, you can make it as big as you want, but you must be able to put it to sleep when you don't want. When what you create, you start thinking is the reality, is existential, when you mistake the psychological for existential, unfortunately, suffering is inevitable. This moment, you may be… I never understood as a child, I always heard this, I'm feeling on top of the world. I would just think, is he on North Pole? As a What is this top of the world? What they mean is, if you pile up all the human beings in a heap, they are right on the top. That's what they mean. They don't mean North Pole. It took me some time to understand this. Whenever people said, I'm on top of the world, I thought… I would imagine maybe they're dancing on North Pole. Because right from a very early age, I was a geography buff. So, it took me some time, these people are imagining every other human being below them, that's top of the world. When you have such a dream, suffering is inevitable. Let this be very clear, that this is not… what I'm saying is not a commentary about any one person. This is the nature of your existence. If you come to terms with it, you will know how to manage this, not just manage this, how to make this into a phenomenal possibility. Or every day struggling with the two bulls, screaming, yelling, you should see the bullock cart drivers, how they abuse the bulls because they're going in different directions. Bad words and filth, everything they will abuse the bulls. I'm sure they don't understand the bull that you're throwing out, but that is how bitter you're feeling. Today you're seeing in the society, abuse is not only at a given time, sometime, once in a way you lost control and abuse. Daily conversation is abuse. It's becoming like that. This clearly is like a barometer. It is showing what is the level of discrepancy you have between life and the shadow. The discrepancy is so much, if you stand, only thing that comes out is filth from your mouth. Only thing is abuse, abuse, abuse. This is happening around the world. Some people may be picking it up thinking it's fashion, but essentially you need to understand there's such a level of unpleasantness within you, nothing wonderful can come out of you. It's not possible. It is only abuse. So you must understand, once it is moving this way, this 800,000 number may keep on growing. A whole lot of people will start thinking it's not worth living because they have not touched life itself. They're lost in their own bull. Their psychological reality has completely overpowered the life process, the existential process that we call as life. Life is not your doing. You didn't create this. This is a phenomena. If you were part of this phenomena, like the galaxies are, like the wind is, like the water is, without cerebral activity of their own, without individual experience, you would also be fine, floating in the wind. Existence gave you an individual experience, though you're bloody nothing. In this cosmos, you're really nothing. To this nothing, a speck, it gave you an individual experience. You can sit here and experience yourself as a separate entity. In this, there is no word. There is no word for how magnificent and how elaborate a creation it is. In this cosmic space, you are not even a speck of dust, microscopic, not even that. For this kind of a speck, there is an individual experience. And right now, because you have taken this individual experience too seriously and abusing it too much, your miseries, your frustrations, your depressions, unfortunately, suicide is one consequence. But many other people are living far more miserable than the people who actually committed suicide. But they continue to live because one bull is very strong, it's not giving up. Yes? For some reason, life energies are too strong, they won't give up. These 800,000 people are people who are successful. For 800,000 people, I'm quite sure there are at least 3 times or 4 times or 5 times, I don't know the exact number, who attempted suicide. Not successful cases are there, any number. So, that is because life was strong and they didn't give up. Though mind wanted to go there, life was strong. Your thought and emotion wants to go there, but life was strong and held on. Well, when life should end, life will decide. But whatever reasons they committed suicide, once a life is gone, either by ailment or accident, natural death, suicide, it doesn't matter how. Once a life is left, we must just bow down because that is the decision of a life for whatever reason. When they're alive, we do everything to see that this must be avoided. Once it has left, you must just bow down because that's existence about which you have no power. You have power to ride it. You have no power to control it. You have no power to direct it. You can only enjoy the ride of life. So once a life is left, whoever it is, for whatever reason, what reasons they committed suicide may look profound or silly to you, it doesn't matter why. But once a life has chosen to leave, you bow down and respect that.